Well, this is not the Cadillac you came for. So, I'm coming off some major flu symptoms here, but yeah, I've got the XLR prototype finished. So, if you're an XLR driver, you're gonna want to stick around because we have the MaxDin prototype in all its hugeness. This is the largest one we've made yet. It's much bigger than the C6. We need to do some unique procedures. The way that we had to build this is different. So you're going to want to check this out as to how this is going to be integrated into your XLR if you choose to grab one of these babies when they come out. Hopefully we are all good. It's been about 4 months of R&D, pinning things out, scanning, doing all kind of stuff, exchanging information. So stick around. You're watching Night Drive TV. I always wanted to build fast cars, so self-taught I started with engine swaps, composites in my apartment to multiple shops, tuning, fabrication, and more. 10 years later, the big time, SEMA, Speed TV, I climbed from nothing, but I lost it all. This is my new ride, Night Drive TV. When failure is not an option, us car guys keep banging the gears of life. All right, guys, so before we get into the video, I know you're anxious to see and all these things. Let me explain some things, because this is the most critical thing about this whole video. If you clicked on this, you're an XLR owner. I cannot stress to you enough what I'm actually going to use this video to tell me. And this video is going to tell me a lot based upon the views and based upon the duration of view time. This is going to be an indicator to me very strongly if the XLR community is really interested in this. I honestly, to this point, have heard a lot of conflicting information. I'm not getting the feeling of excitement over this product. There are some of you that have definitely conveyed that, but there is also a strong anti. I like my radio the way it is. I like having my car the way it is, things like that. So obviously there are enough cars out here that this product, I can do it, but I'm going to be very clear again up front. I need to build 400 of these initially, and the only way that I'm going to do that is if there is clearly an indication that the community is ready to buy it. So in this video, we're going to go through all the things. So I shot this intro that you just saw before in April. We will fast forward through this video all the way until pretty much current time. So at this point, you'll kind of see where the unit's at in the end of the video as I'm driving around and things like that. So it's now August. So all I can tell you is if you like the unit, if you have an XLR, if you want me to pursue making products, I need you to like this video. I need you to comment. I need you to give me every indication you can, because if it's just not a strong response, I mean, unfortunately, I make parts for Corvettes and things like that, and it's just a possibility I might have to scratch this as much as I don't want to. So I don't want to blab on. This is a video of a couple different things. You can see that I ended up having to buy a second XLR, do things like this to get this done, and I've invested already, obviously, you know, $25,000 I guess dollars just in XLRs, two junkers, but you know, runners, and obviously I can't tell you how much time, energy, and just financial investment into the R&D that's already been done. So we're already getting pretty deep into this. We haven't sold anything, and so let this video be the indicator, guys. If you know XLR people, if you are XLR people out there interested in seeing this happen, please share this with other XLR people and encourage them to view the video and comment. So with that said, let's get to it. Old Project XLR has been sitting out here waiting patiently as I had taken everything out of the inside. As you can see, she's all gutted out, and some of you may know XLRs sitting, well, they can be problematic when you go to get inside of them again. So I bought this XLR pretty cheap, and as a result, I don't have the key. It never came with a key, so all I have is this fob. When the XLR is dead, you go through this little hole here, you put in your key, it supposedly pops the trunk open, then you start popping your way manually until you get your hood open. I don't have the key. What I can tell you is I've been locked out of this thing before here, and I've always run this little trick here. and the wheel well. You can see there's a power box right there, and I usually just jump it right there. XLR is a little bit more restrictive. So I was searching around, and what I have discovered is underneath here, if you go underneath your car, under the front, I have detached this plug, and it seems to be like a cooling fan control. I'm thinking I can backfeed some power into it, and we can hopefully power this thing up without the key so that I can open the doors. I'm going to verify with the diagrams. I mean, thick red wires, I don't think you can really go wrong with their power. But I'm just going to take a look at the diagram to be sure. Sending power. So it's the second pin from the outside there. All right, we have success. As long as you tap into the power system, you can backfeed a little bit, as long as you don't pull too many amps through that wire. Put some proper power to this here, obviously. We got it on the charger, so we have everything taken out. I'll just let it charge up a bit and get it moved over. Well, this thing says ready. All right. Nope, she ain't ready. She's not ready. All right, we got her started up next day, and got it moved over to the garage here. Well, here she is. So it's a handmade 3D printed version. Obviously the production version will not be 3D printed. This is what you do for rapid prototyping. So have a custom made harness here, which I'm going to plug in, and we're going to check functionality and kind of put this back together. So that's what that's the next step here. All right, so the one thing we're going to need is the HVAC portion, which is going to go here, and I'm going to show you guys how that's going to work. I'm going to take apart the factory HVAC unit, and we're going to incorporate it into this unit. You may have to look for a bit to provide. I don't know how many people are going to have a T10 security bit, but that's exactly what it's going to take. It's a bit that has a relief in the center, but it is a T10, it's a Torx 10, and so that's what we're going to need to disassemble the back of this. There's 4 of them, and you take this away, and there's a ribbon cable, like shown here, that's attached to the front side control, and you just pull this outward towards you. It's very simple. It just pulls outward, and then that ribbon cable slips right out. And we're going to use this portion basically to preserve a lot of the core functions and allow the interfaces that we need so that those molds don't have to be made. So that's going to be incorporated into the factory unit here, or the replacement unit rather. And so then we'll have the factory interfacing. Start the car here. And we've been having a lot of issues, unfortunately, but that's the nature of the game, I guess. So we got everything obviously booted, but I'm having a lack of response here, so everything's kind of frozen. It does control everything, and it does have positive control, but we're not having much function correctly. So I am going to be putting this update here. Simple. We're going to do that. Something's working, but okay. I think we got looks like it's out of order a little bit. Okay. That's a positive sign. It's kind of a very laborious process because it's a morning and then nighttime process. That's kind of how I do everything. I'm kind of doing work throughout the day, kind of stacking up things that they need to look into. We run So we run some different applications that can basically look at the live code as it's running, and so then I will operate certain functions, obviously, and you can see a response, obviously, of what basically hex and things is going through the system and running different commands and things like that. So quirkiness, I'm checking the vent positions now. I can't seem to direct select the center only. I have to kind of do a lot. Feels good there. Somebody had asked on one of the groups if the engine light was related to this or something. Obviously that's not the case. This car's got its own problems, as you can see. So I'm getting to a point that something works correctly. We're having an interesting fault here. Doesn't seem. All right, so the one thing that I haven't done, and obviously this is being shot a way different time, I haven't opened this top, and I kind of want to look at that and talk to you guys, XLR people, just about a few things that I've been looking at on these cars. I really do find them interesting, and I'm a Corvette guy, as you can see, Corvette and Corvette right there, but I really like Corvettes, and I just happen to have all manuals, and so the automatic thing bothers me a little bit, but I just can't help but look at the body of the XLR and be like, man, there's just so many possibilities, so much stuff I can make. So I've got some ideas, but the one thing is I just really want to get the top down. I want to see if it even works. What's your chances? What do you give me that this thing is gonna work? This is a what I paid for this, $12,000 XLR. Now the one thing I am wanting to check already is to see if this looks chewed up and like somebody's had to use the manual release before, and honestly it looks like maybe you need to do anything else. So it says closed cargo divider. So been reading about these a little bit. Looks like there's a little divider that tells the system that there's nothing in the way. So I guess I have to open the trunk, and the trunk is weird, but I guess you just hit a button for the, what's this button? Oh, hey, look. Hey, well, that's a good sign, right? Okay, so that's the divider, right? So let's see. Nope. Well, all right, I had to flop that around for a second to figure out. So obviously you can tell, lucky for me, I have messed with a Ferrari 355 hydraulic top, and these, it's kind of all engineered similar. I know there's a lot of things that tell the system real basic, micro switches and whatnot, and I can tell that's probably what's going on there because there's no sensor or switch here, but I can definitely see a little wheel here. So as long as that is okay. Now, do you just put these down, or do they do you have to do they have a button? Oh, yep, there's a button there. So do you just put it down, or do you shut it? Oh, there we go. All right. Well, it's shut. Hit the button again. I hope you guys are not laughing because I'm not doing something. I don't think you have to do anything, right? Everything is automatic. So, all right, let's try again. Windows down. Something's happening behind my head. Nothing happened. So that worked with the dash button, but not with the top button. So, this is moving. It does sound like there's two pumps, but I didn't think there was two pumps. Huh. But at least the trunk opens, I guess. I mean, I feel kind of good about that. I did have some stuff inside moving. I'm just not sure about the actual procedure. Well, I have seen online that this is where everything's located, so I wanted to take a look for leaks or anything. I do see it's a little bit low. It's below the minimum. Not much. I mean, there's definitely fluid in it, but likely to indicate there's probably a leak somewhere. So I'm trying to see if anybody's been in here. Definitely needs fluid, so I'm gonna wonder what goes in there. So you know, after a lot of testing and things like that, the next phase, we obviously still have some mapping to do and things like that for certain steering wheel controls and things, but I think it looks, you know, it looks pretty nice in the car. Obviously this is handmade, so don't overreact to the finish and things like that, because as you can see, this is crude, because it's been made just to basically test fitment, some of the tabs, things like that. But you know what it does for the just the feel inside of this car, it's obviously very modernizing, and so, you know, you can have and enjoy a lot of, you know, different modern conveniences and things. Obviously this would be Waze. I don't have the GPS hooked up yet there, but you know, you have a lot of different functions here that you can easily use. The internet, obviously, so radio. But you know, I think it's a very good option, you know, and I once we get some audio things sorted out, we still have a little bit. This one was tricky, a little bit trickier than initially thought of. I thought that the C6 stuff would integrate a little bit easier, but actually that's not the case. So the one thing that we were happy about in this vehicle's case is this is much larger than the C6. If you could, well, let me show you. This is XLR. I mean, you know, that's kind of hard to give you a relevant picture, but if I align this on the bottom corner, you know, you're quite substantially larger. Oh, I'm dropping stuff. So XLR just happened to have a bit more room in the way that GM designed this car. I mean, we're definitely talking about a 3-inch diagonal difference, but I can tell you in person, the difference is pretty substantial. And so, you know, I think by nature, these cars were pretty expensive. Obviously they were C6s in a way, but we're really doing a premium thing here by going with a unit that is this large. It's super responsive. You're not going to have any issues, any delays, and once everything is set up, you'll see that this goes very quickly. But this system is very responsive. You know, it's overbuilt, and that's the key with this. You know, hardware wise, we have a lot of processing power. We have a lot of RAM on board and things like that. No issues. And so obviously this is a launcher that you can configure a lot of different functions into, but there's just a lot that can be done here, a lot more than people know. So what I do have a problem with at this point, HVAC is solid. Honestly, there's very few issues. There's a little bit of functionality stuff that I am going to address, and it's basically the auto modes defaulting to two different things. We have some sequencing stuff to figure out, but the vent positions, everything feels good there. And now audio, we have no audio right now. So even though we did kind of map out what was happening with the OEM radio and things like that, we don't have any audio at this point. So there's something is not right at this point. So we're going to have to obviously focus on that. We're going to slowly work in a lot of other things, and as time goes on, you're going to have to just follow along. That's your best bet. So the next phase is going to be in June. I am going to have the engineers here from overseas, like they came last year, like you can see here. I'm going to bring them back, and we're going to be working on some C6 stuff. We'll kind of go through some things and see about finishes. There's obviously a lot of concerns about finishes in these cars. What we can do in terms of, I'm not sure how many color variations there are for the interior. I know everyone had kind of that silverish finish that they used in the Hummer H2 as well. There's just certain things we're going to have to look into as to what's viable and what's feasible and what isn't. I think in terms of interior, there's not much more you can do that's going to elevate the perception and the cost perception, because some of these surprisingly still go for $50,000. So, there's definitely something that gives you the feeling of, having something a bit newer, a bit more modern with a lot more conveniences that people that probably own these types of cars would really enjoy. And it allows you to preserve your OEM stuff for collector values and things like that, and which I would definitely suggest doing. Just put your OEM stuff in a box. So there's some other aspects of XLR that I'm looking at. I would, if you have a comment or you want to, basically, I know the certain things that XLR people seem to be plagued by in terms of things that are like super expensive to acquire. And there's definitely a need. So, it's a small community though. There's not many XLR people, and that's kind of what concerns me. I can only reach so many through these videos. And so it's like the risk of trying to do certain things for the XLR community, and then the concern that it may be a community that's hard to reach. All right, we've got the XLR back in here. We're on hour 11 or so. Got my new refrigerator. Keep my drink cold. So yeah, we got kind of hung up on the XLR with the audio not working, and they just kind of did a real quick, like, yeah, we need a head unit. So kind of pushed them to get back in there and see if they can figure it out. So this is where things got a little tricky. They did work on the car. We were not able to establish audio because the head unit I had sent away for them to disassemble. Well, when they came back, they did not bring it with them, and it was destroyed in the process. So I didn't have a head unit. So as they continued to work on Corvettes, yeah, I had to go buy another XLR. This is the new XLR, so had to buy another one. Not too happy about that, I will tell you honestly. It's black also. I'm not happy about that. So scanning these cars, 3D scanning them, I mean, I can show you, I have a better 3D scanner these days, so you can see that's why the dots are all on there, so that I 3D scan. But black is the hardest to scan, so yeah, still black. So the good thing is having two of these. This is an 06 or something. I think this is an 06. So I don't know, a little bit different, better, I don't know. So the top works on this one, but yeah, so gonna probably keep this one intact, and then at least the other one I can take the headlights, taillights, scan the body. I could do other things, tear that one apart and not have to worry about it. So one of these are gonna get probably totally salvaged for the cause, but I mean, I'm taking a big risk on XLR and onto the XLR community. I'm going to be honest with you, my brain's telling me I got to really question a lot of this, so we'll see. So with that problem solved, they continued to work away for many, many, many hours, let me tell you. And with that, and we've got some function. That's how it looks right there. So I mean, it's in there, it's working, and some trickiness in this car, very tricky stuff. And so I'm gonna do some final kind of playing with it. Try and just go through. We have some features that they've got enabled right now that we're going to be doing testing with. It's adjusting the Bose amp sensitivity and things like that. We have some weird functions working on the steering wheel for now, but yeah, I'm gonna go through it. Off they go. We might not see them again. We're gonna test this in the morning, but otherwise off they go. See you when I see you. Bye. Bye. So at that point, for the next week or two, I had continued to test the unit, go through a lot of different functionality. The good thing is most of this platform is shared with our C6 unit, which has been in customer hands for about 10 months. So it's matured quite a bit. Our C5 unit is also about to release. So this one is sharing a lot of the core with those two. So as far as functionality, we don't have many issues. Really, it's about the integration with the XLR that has some difficulty, but I did drive around, use the unit. Man, it's a real game changer inside of the XLR. I mean, the XLR experience is pretty cool. I mean, it's not a me type of car, but I can appreciate what it is, and when you add this, it's pretty exciting. So the one challenge that I do want to look into, and I am testing more of today, is just with the fact that all XLRs are convertibles, and this is a very large screen. I'm testing a lot of different anti-reflective and anti-glare treatments for that surface. So that's what we're going to be looking into moving into the future.
The bar is almost empty. It's me, the bartender, and the piano man.
Okay, so that's a wrap on the video, and you kind of saw at the in the last portion there. It's pretty complete as a hand-built prototype. All our venting systems mount. Things like that. There are dual buses in the car that did present some developmental issues. So basically the C6 is just, kind of a single CAN bus system. This kind of has a split bus system. So it was a little bit tricky. They had to go back and basically redesign some of the hardware. So I am expecting I will get another prototype. That's not going to happen now. I know the XLR Invitational or whatever was happening it's the Alante, and the XLR Invitational was happening up in Michigan. Without really something to show full function, I didn't really, feel it was reasonable for me to invest time and go there. And again, as I spoke in the beginning of the video, I'm not sure where we are with this. So. If any of you guys are interested in definitely, I know, like I said, some of you have been very clear you want it, but it might be 20 or 30 people. So that's just never going to cut it. We'll see. I will get a fully functioning prototype. I have a better, insightful review on the actual unit itself. Obviously, you can look at my website, KnightDriveTV.com. You can obviously also just research the C6 MaxDin. We have about 500 units out there. A lot of people are using them, enjoying them. We've done a couple updates. We've matured the unit a bit in terms of HVAC function and things like that, to where it's a pretty dialed system. Bose always presents some challenges, and the audio system in the XLR will as well. But we are obviously continually working on that as we move forward. So, with XLRs, I mean, like I said, I think preserving some of your OEM components and your originality and putting it in a box is probably valuable to some people. Also, if I accomplish this, I mean, I am interested in doing some other components for XLRs. I have the cars here to take apart, to scan, to develop in CAD, to do things for. I'm just, like I said, my concern is not being able to connect with the community. So that's it for the video. Let me know what you think, and we'll revisit this in probably 2 months after I wrap up at Carlisle, Bowling Green, and the Corvette Caravan. I will come back. I expect we'll probably see a prototype sometime between September and SEMA in November, when Emma returns. So, because we're in Las Vegas, obviously. So we'll see what happens. So catch you on the next one.